warm welcome to our today's session to all our participants. We have another 5 minutes before we begin with our webinar today. So another 3 minutes before we begin. So dear participants, we'll be beginning our session in the next 1 minute's time. Well, it's 3 p.m. We commence with today's webinar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The hard part is what to do with an idea once you have it. And talking with more and more entrepreneurs, it's clear execution is the key. Our leaders share on how to bring ideas to life by ideating, validating, planning, and finally executing. Ideation to execution is all about forgetting the top step and worrying about the next step. HRAI welcomes you all to our next HRAI session on connecting the dots, road to recovery from ideation to execution. HRAI is a non-profit human resource association that firmly believes in delivering value through Landmark Summit, which offers unique opportunities for subject matter experts to share knowledge, which will help our members to learn about the latest advancement in technology and innovation. In the world of conferences, we believe in leveraging the power of knowledge to deliver value to every participating delegate and organization at our event. For more details on HRI, I request you to visit the link posted in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our esteemed panel members for our today's webinar. Mr. Neeraj Hatti Singh, founder and managing director of Signet Infotech. His involvement with his family enterprise began at a very young age. He has a long-standing and proven business expertise in trading, manufacturing of epoxy resin and related chemicals. He was instrumental in transforming the traditional family business through innovation and information technology. In the year 2000, he launched Signet Infotech to develop software products and solutions. His belief in the vision of Signet Infotech to empower lives globally with technology-enabled business solution has evolved in multiple software solutions at Signet. His passion of converting a business challenge into an IT solution has helped Signet grow into a world-class technology service provider. Having completed his education in statistics, his keenness for numbers has helped Signet to develop tax technology software solutions for indirect taxation globally, including India. Focused on quality and care for society are closest to his heart. The abstract of his experience of 30 plus years in various industries is that quality is key to prosperity, and he expects and exhibits the same from all Signetians. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invite.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Our next panel member, Mr. Manish Doshi, Director, Silver Touch Technologies Limited. He is a qualified computer engineer and a technology professional and profound experience in process and quality management, software engineering, project and operation management, and human resource management. A keen planner and strategist, Mr. Doshi has demonstrated initiative and leadership in driving organizations on the technology and engineering front with an intensive focus on total quality management. His core competency lies in digital transformation, business automation, optimization of operation cost using digital techniques. Mr. Doshi has overall experience of 25 plus years in experience in process and quality management, software engineering, project and operation management, and human resource management. Now, so thank you, sir, for accepting our invite.
Thank you.
Now I'll introduce the moderator for today's session, Ms. Sindhu Kalyan Sundaram, founder, chief mentor, Ignite Academia. Sindhu comes with an experience of 15 years and brings in rich experience in management consulting across retail, banking and finance services, loyalty and marketing, FMCG, IT services. Having worked across India and United Kingdom with GE, Nestle, Infosys, Cognizant, New Look Retailers, Athenian International, she is the founder of Ignite Academy and Server Happiness. She helps organizations through her workshop on leadership skills, communication skills, team engagement, goal setting, and soft skills. She holds a postgraduate degree in marketing and information technology from SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. Without taking much time, I would now request Ms. Sindhu to take over this session. Over to you, Ms. Sindhu.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, HRAI. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another interesting session. Once upon a time, not so long ago, when all of us were sitting very cozy in our cubicles, probably discussing about strategy operations, what leadership should be, or how organizations could be more collaborative. Probably we were sipping a coffee in the cafeteria and talking about different logistical and operational strategies. Something happened, and boom, we're all here right now. And before we could even realize what's transformed the world, we're still, in a way, trying to adapt and adopt ourselves to a new way of work and life, and how human beings have demonstrated resilience in the past. I think as a community, all of us have shown that, to see how we could face the pandemic that's approached us, the way it shaped our lives and the way it shaped the organizations. And before even we realize it, somewhere down the line, there seems to be a beacon of hope. And today we're talking about actually a road to recovery, which seems to be very optimistic, which slowly seems to be bringing back lives to normal, or the new normal, as there seems to be a new terminology that's come in. So, in the new normal, in the road to recovery, I would like to put forth question to both the panelists. I would request Minesh to address this question as to, from your organization's perspective, what is the road to recovery? How do you see this new normal?
Yeah, thank you, Sindhu, and a warm welcome to all participants. And thank you, HRII, for organizing such a wonderful webinar. So glad to have all the participants on the webinar. Sindhu, it's been quite long now, and everyone has experienced the pandemic world over. And I don't want to talk more about that because everyone has their own experiences. But getting back to work is the new normal now. Okay. So we have seen from the government policies and across the world that everyone wants to move back, move to back to the work and contribute more to economy and the businesses. So for the HR, that's it's kind of new opening of the office, because you are closed since more than 100 days, or some of you have even not started yet. Many of you have started with the limited capacity. So for HR, it's very interesting that, how they handle this new normal, which is back to office, back to work. So I have few points, on which I would like to discuss about 3, 4 points, which is majority for any HR professional to look at, So one is the pre-opening, let's say that many of you have opened, or many of you are now opening full-fledged, or in phases you are opening. So first of all, do we have the policies for, back to work, post-COVID situation? Do we have policies for screening, mask, how the visitors will be handled, how the social distancing will be maintained, how the meeting rooms will be operated, how the common facilities will be operated within the companies, So this is very, very important for HR to make such policy, because this policy doesn't exist before, and it's a new thing, which is a new normal for HR to set up the all SOPs and implement it. Okay. The second most important thing is, when you are in organization, the first customer is your employees, right, who are coming to work back. And then you have the customers coming in, or you have vendors or suppliers coming in, you have service providers coming in. So how do you handle them? How do you handle them in a new normal? So these all things are very, very critical and very, very crucial for any of the HR, who are back to work, and they have a lot of work to do other than what, all normal work they have been doing till now. So this is one part. On the admin side also, when HR is taking care of the infrastructure, and the hygiene factor is very, very important. So how do you make sure that proper hygiene is maintained throughout the office infrastructure? The second important point, which has brought to notice is the commuting, because in the metro cities, when employees take the public transport, right, and many times the public transport is not active yet, like the metros and all. So how do you handle the commute of your employee? They want to come back to work, right, and they don't have the vehicles to come back, or it's too long for them to drive. So how do we handle this, and the most tricky part is that, the fellow employee or the co-employee will ask, that are you coming from a micro containment zone? Means, do you have any COVID patient in your building or on your apartment or in your society? So these are very touchy issues, which HR has to face, because employees coming back to work, but then all other employees opposing it, that why he is at work when he is coming from the micro containment zone. So a lot of things to be planned from the HR's perspective on the commuting as well, that how employees are commuted, how they are coming to office, and how they are doing the work. Now, let's say, we have the employees and everyone is coming in. So at work, they are at the desk, and we know the Indian working culture, that we are not having the space luxury like most of the developed countries like US and UK, and we always have limitation in space. So first thing is, how do you do the elevator distancing? When they are entering your building and entering the elevator, uh, initially you may have 10 people or 15 people entering elevator, and now you cannot do that, right? So a lot of things for HR to take care, when people are coming to work. How do you bring them to work in a phase manner, or alternate ways, or alternate days, or in shift? And how do you make sure that that co-working space, the working space, is having at least 6 feet of social distancing? So you can't have, of course, everyone sitting side by side, which is 4 feet table, what we have generally in IT setup typically. So all these things are very, very important for HR in terms of planning the entire back to normal or back to work kind of thing. And now the most interesting thing, which all HR has started experiencing, is the exception management. You have new situation where employee have conflict because of the hygiene issue, because of the social distancing, because of the how they are working at the office, right? And this is the new normal for HR, that how do they handle such queries from the employees, and yeah, it may happen that someone falls sick, someone is having a flu, or someone is maybe having a COVID positive. So how do we handle such situation at the work? Do we shut down that particular area of the office space, or we sanitize it and then restart that area? So these are like, very, very important areas for HR, because breathing in someone's face without a mask is a crime today, right? So yeah, lot many things, and I think the HR fraternity is doing excellent, with the new normal. But these are the few points, which really needs attention when employees are coming back to work, and you are inviting your customers, vendors, service provider to your workplace. And these are the new normal, and it's not going to be like for 1 month or 2 months, but it's going to stay for a long time till we get the solution on COVID. So thanks Indu on that.
Thank you very much, Manish. I think you articulated the role of HR so well. Basically, the points that you were talking about spanned across the attitude of HR to embrace different work styles, work cultures, which were probably not even thought of. Probably they were not even in the books. Though businesses have a business continuity plan or a disaster recovery plan, how many of the businesses have actually thought about a crisis like this, where people will have to actually work from home for more than 100 days? And I think you very well said about the fact that HR definitely demonstrated that sort of adaptability and flexibility to embrace policies and procedures which are probably not even there in the books. Thank you very much. Over to Neeraj, from your industry and an organizational perspective, how does the new normal look like, and how does the road to recovery look like?
Thank you, Sindhu, for the question, and thank you, HRAI, for this opportunity and invite and to interact with the HR professions. So thanks for that. I think, Sindhu, from the industry perspective, the most important factor is you need to be positive and spread positivity around you. Because if I go back to the 2009 kind of a story, and where it was a financial crisis, and because of that there was a meltdown into the business, and that was the last experience which people were carrying into their mind when they started dealing with the current situation, and both panned out very, very different. That was a financial stress. This was a kind of a stress on people's health, and the type of reactions to it, the type of kind of what you call is the impression that was there in people's mind, or how they approached it, was very, very different. And the initial defense mechanism came in. They started taking the measures. The first important thing was the BCP plans came into play, and we shifted everybody to start working from home. And then that was the first, I would say, the biggest success we can say into March for all the organizations, that yes, our BCP plans worked. We could transfer this many people to work from home, whatever up till now we had thought, maybe for different reasons, for a different situation, but it actually worked, and we could get thousands of people working from home. So that was the kind of the first and the foremost things. Yeah, the IT teams got stressed out beyond the point in terms of implementing that and the struggles onto it, but that was really worth it. Post that, if we take it, that the whole process started into that, and then the initial downsizing of the things started. The clients started cutting down the resources. The clients started putting projects on hold, and the 2009 stories came into play, that it's going to be very challenging in terms of that there will be a major business loss and all that. But suddenly the learnings out of it actually gave the road to the recovery, because we said, okay, this is what we are expecting, this is what we have passed through, this is what we know is going to happen, and the best way to recovery is how we can be much more active, much more agile. How do we reach out to more and more people across the globe? How can we give them more confidence that no, we are there, we can do a very good job of the work that you assign us, and we'll support you more. And the best part started coming from the customers. They said, and I talk to all our large customers personally, kind of on every alternate week, just to take that feedback in this 4 months, how things are happening. And this, these things are working too well from home. Means like the type of support that we are getting from the employees is just too good. And the availability is much better. The support is much better. The escalations were very, very low and very down. So that was a great positivity. And that positivity somehow kickstarted an initiative wherein people thought, and maybe the job losses in maybe US or Europe may be much more. But what they thought was that if we have to give a person work from home, if we have to give them work remotely, why not give it in India? And that completely changed the spectrum. When we started getting lot many inquiries, the client engagements increased, and we are seeing a complete reversal trend from what it was in March and April to extremely positive things. Another major factor that we saw from our organization point of view was that the amount of investment we had done into products and solutions which were ready from our side for all these years suddenly started getting a huge boost. Means people wanted to try out things which are readily available, which would solve their challenges, and complete digitization of workforce, complete digitizations of different kind of work areas started. And absolutely from a, what you call is a human labor, a shift towards a digital labor started in a big fashion. So that also gave us a lot of recovery. And the third part is the employees. I think they were happier working from home because they got a lot of flexibility in terms of what time to work, how to work, when to work. As long as they finish their task, they got a lot of flexibility. And then they were with their families. So the security of it, the mental well-being all came into play. So I think initially there was lots of apprehension, but today what we see is a huge amount of optimism, and a huge amount of potential that the recovery will be very strong and very fast. That is the outlook which I am looking at it.
Very
Yes.
interesting, Neeraj. I think a couple of points that you mentioned stood out. One was of the fact that initially we were very reactive in our approach, but all of a sudden we are forced to be very proactive to think about, okay, what next? What should I be doing? What's going to happen next? And the second one, as the saying goes, that growth happens outside your comfort zone. I think that's exactly what's happened to many of us, where we literally pushed outside our comfort zone, embrace what we've not even thought about, embrace our fears, and still yet grow and move forward. So, thank you so much. That's a very interesting perspective that you put forward. So, as you must have known, in many of these IT services industries, there are employees who are on bench for a particular period of time before they get assigned into projects. And now, due to the COVID situation, there are employees who are forced to remain employed but without assignments. So, Minesh, I want to ask you, how do you think the performance of these employees are going to be measured, considering that they were not given opportunities to demonstrate their flexibility or what they were made of?
Yeah, it's I think it's very interesting because we have all the set parameters in HR when we talk about the performance management, and the PMS is the most important part in any company, that how employees productivity, the efficiency, the accuracy, the quality, the communication, behavioral aspect. So lot many parameters we have on PMS, and that has been always the key criteria for HR and any organization to move forward. Because not only the employee gets the motivation, or they know how they are going to be measured, but it's the way forward for them to set up their career to the next level or next goal. So this is very very interesting time when uh, first of all, you don't have the employees at workplace, right? So you don't know what they are doing, and they are at home. So measuring the efficiency of employees working from home is the whole new area, which has come to India. It's not new to the world, the entire world. I'm sure many of you have friends who have been working from home since more than 10 years in US or UK or many part of the world. So for India, it was a big surprise that how do you measure the efficiency of employees. And it was very interesting, as being a IT project company or a product company or a service company, when I talk to the managers, they all say, sir, we are doing fantastic, and this has been the feedback from all over the other IT company. I talked to all of the CXO level at IT companies. So that means that we had that internal ability to work from home and being away from the office, and self motivated to work in a team. So that's positive part of it, that yes, everyone worked. Okay, now coming back to the employees who are unfortunate because of the business situation, who did not have any project. Okay, what we had done, that we gave them the career goal in terms of the new technology learning. Okay, career goal in terms of the new product development, which we initiated as part of the COVID-19 initiatives. Interestingly, we started couple of new services, which is COVID-19 resilient services. So which we never offered to our customers before COVID. Okay. So these were, very good directives for the employees who are not on the project, or I would say who are not billable, and, the organization is not getting the direct benefit out of it. But these gave them a fantastic motivation to work towards the goals which is given by the organization. And we have seen that the performance what we have got in last couple of months from the employees who were not on the real project was fantastic, was even better than the performance from the for the employees who are working from home but on the projects. So I think it's the leadership who has to decide that how you are going to handle this situation, because many of we have seen that there are pay cuts or the layoffs, and that is the obvious business decision, because you cannot pay them if you don't have the fund flow. But the organization, when we talk about the road to recovery, we have to see that the customer is going to ask for the new services which never existed before COVID, and that helped us to design a few services and products around the COVID-19 resilient offering. And we put all the employees who were not on the actual projects, and we really got at least one product out of it and we launched it. So what organization can do is the skill upgradation or skill upliftment for the employees. And if they achieve that target, I think the performance measurement criteria has to be tailored for all the employees who are not on the work. So as I said, the HR has a lot of new work coming in on their way, because this is the new situation. And probably in the entire lifetime, I think we have not seen the pandemic. We have seen the 2009 downfall, or the 2000 year 2000 Y2K burst, but they all were the economic problem and the business problem, and they were never pandemic. The work situation never changed during those time. So we really even can't compare the downturns, economic downturns which we have experienced in 2000 or 2009. And this is the new downturn with the pandemic, and you have less ability to work physically at the workplace. So I think, yeah, it's very interesting for HR, and I would recommend HRI have some papers on this, who can share the experience, how they have implemented PMS, or how the performance measurement is done. And that will be really really helpful for the entire Indian IT industry or the other service industry who is working in pandemic.
Thank you, Manish. I think you beautifully said that about learning and development emerging. So, previously, where people did not have time to learn because they were completely task oriented, maybe this was an opportunity to leverage the time available for learning and the time available for development. And you also said that you came out with a couple of products or services which were not there. Reminds me of what I read about Google. I read that Google gives 20% compulsory time for employees to engage in projects that they are extremely passionate about outside the current projects that they are working in. And I believe that's why today we have products like Gmail or AdSense, because the company gave them time to work on something that they're very passionate about. So thank you for your response. And over to Neeraj. I'm going to continue with what Manish was talking about, the new normal and how employees will have to be engaged. My question to you is, in today's era of social distancing, where we're actually talking virtually, how do you think employee engagement practices can evolve? So how can we keep employees engaged if this is going to continue for a longer period of time?
So I think the first and the foremost thing is the new normal is not going to change. It's going to continue for a very long time. So if we assume that we will have the full uh, people that at the full strength coming back to the offices, that's never going to happen. We did our internal survey, and we are very sure that about 60 to 70% of the people are never going to come back to offices full time. So that's a reality. This creates a major challenge for our HR team on how to engage with them and how to really engage them into a very productive discussion or something in that fashion. So the first and foremost thing, the first challenge was from my side, that how do I engage with my HR team? Because when you are in office, you are face to face, you could discuss so many things and kind of decide on two things and you can take it forward. So we started that we should have a weekly, very confirmative review mechanism wherein the entire HR team is on a call with me and we decide what's going to be the HR agenda for the coming week. So we are planning week to week, we are planning on a monthly basis on how we are going to engage with the employees. The first thing is that when we started back in April or May, the first thing we did is let's pick up phone and start talking them how they are feeling, what are they doing, are their families okay, or any challenges they have. And the first interesting challenge that came up that we don't have the right kind of chair to sit at home and work properly. This was the first challenge came in. And we had recently changed one of our offices and we had 200 plus chairs lying into our warehouse. We said you can take these chairs and take it back and take it to your home and use it. So that was a kind of a very interesting approach came out that okay, we were able to engage with them, give a little bit of comfort, maybe just a 1% of a comfort, but we were able to touch their hearts at some place by which we were able to say that okay, no, we care for you. That was the most important thing. And now month on month the HR connect with the employees has become a regular practice. So we have divided entire employee set of people and every time somebody else connects it and the same person connects it so that we get more output from it and we are taking care of the well-being. Another thing that we understood that okay, this is a time, and as we discussed earlier also into the same discussion, that this is the time of learning. This is not the time of entertainment because sitting at home, people are getting enough amount of entertainment into a different social groups, the family groups and all that. So from the organization, the real inputs that they want is how we can improve upon our career path. How do we really grow? How do we be in line with what needs to be done? What is the type of trainings we should be taking into it? What is the type of forthcoming technologies that we should really focus on to that? And along with our technical leadership and along with our HR team, we started identifying the people who needed training into certain things. And the moment somebody came out of a project, there always was a training plan ready for them to be shifted onto that, saying that, okay, you are off a project for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be. These are the trainings that you need to do. And this is the skill development that way. Similar to what Manish said, that in the month of March itself, we had planned out that these are the 12 product developments or a solution developments which had got stuck into the process. And that requirement to what needed to be done was ready. And that was also given to the employees who were on the bench or kind of even on the intermediary period out of the projects so that they can start working onto it and upskilling them. So all these engagements really interacted very well with the employees. And then we started, since last month, we started that we have started calling them to office for 2 years, 3 years kind of thing in a 15 days or a bi-weekly for 2, 3 years. So we just had up till now about 15 people percent of the entire workforce coming to office. But bring them to office, make them feel they are safe, they are cared for. All the precautions that needs to be taken at the office are being done by the organization and it's comfortable to come out of their home. So many people I have talked to when they came to office, that was the first time they even ventured out of their society. So that is a kind of a situation that is there. And because they are very well educated and very well connected to the social media, so they read much more about all the current happenings onto the COVID situation. So the fear into their mind is much, much more. And what we need to give them is the confidence that no, things will get better. Things are already getting better. And with the necessary precautions or with the care that we all need to follow, things will improve a lot. And that confidence I'm seeing today, there are at least 25 people in the floor today in the office. And that is kind of thing people have started slowly, gradually coming on their own to office for a specific interaction or a specific meeting. So that confidence building happened step by step. It did not happen overnight, but the connect and the engagement and the learning, which was the most important for the employees, that has to carry on for the months or the years to come in for them to really come out stronger out of this situation. So that is what we have implemented, and we are really getting very good encouraging response from everywhere onto it. Yes, Indu.
Thank you, Neeraj. As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. The entire exercise of confidence building that your organization undertook, I'm sure, has connected with each one of us, especially when you said that the 200 chairs lying out there and you just asked your employees to use those chairs. I think that is a definition of empathy, right? When you understand what the other person is going through and you also have a solution to address that emotion. I think this will make a wonderful case study. Permit me to use this in one of my training sessions later on to demonstrate how an organization can show empathy to its employees. Thank you very much, Neeraj. Brilliant example.
Sure.
So again, when we talk about empathy, somewhere down the line, when an organization shows to its employees that I'm there for you, I'm listening to you, it's actually contributing to a trust building exercise, especially in a pandemic situation like this, where trust is hanging by the line. It's important for the organization to understand that trust is very important. So Minesh, my question to you is, yes, organizations are connecting with employees. They're trying to tell the employees that we are there. But how can employees build interpersonal trust now? Because as a team player, I'll have to work along with my other teammates as well. And all my other teammates are scattered everywhere. How can employees build interpersonal trust in today's times?
Yeah, very interesting question. And I think this is the again new learning for everyone, where integrating the team, from the home. Okay. And I would like to give you a few examples, where we have a team as large as 50 people working on a single project, to as small as like 2 to 3 people working on a project. So mostly it goes like, whatever it was there on site. So you have the team structure in place, right from project manager to the tech lead, to the development team and quality assurance and everything. And ideally, all the IT service company or the IT company, they have the tools and technology in place to integrate the entire team. So whether it's a requirement gathering, or whether it's a design of the systems, or it's coding of the system, or testing it, or delivering it to the customer, you have some central system in place which binds all of them at the one location. But the interesting things, what we have seen is that, these tools were there, but the people were more connected physically when they are, physically in the office, and they do have the more frequent meeting, or just peep into the manager and, request for a quick help. So all these things transformed, uh, uh, to the technology platform, or to the central tool, which is already there in the enterprises or in the IT companies. So the tool become very, very powerful. So all relied on the tool, because you are not seeing anyone around, you are just at home. So whatever information you are putting to the tool, the central repository, is being trusted by all other team member. And the responsibility level, what we have seen of people checking in their code, or doing any kind of work, has increased a lot, because they wanted less and less interaction, which is not possible in the distributed environment. What teams have done and what HR have done is a significant improvement in the entire process from work from home, and I'm sure all the other IT company have followed. So generally you have Scrum or the daily meetings, which they are doing on the WebEx now, or the Zoom, which is there. and HR insisted that you must keep the video on, to have that feeling that, yeah, you are in the team, right? And you are not somewhere outside, and you are not disconnected. So that gave a great feeling. And if you see our Facebook wall or LinkedIn wall, you will find pictures filled of all the employees, putting their frame, that all are on the one frame, and they are just working as a team. So that helped a lot, to build the team culture, when they are working from home. And to our surprise, many of the employees who are not local to Ahmedabad or wherever, they were back to their home city or the other state, and they were also active, as active as they are in the physically in the office. So building trust is on the two side. One is you are delivering what you are responsible for, okay, and as a team you are delivering to the customer or to the project according to the timeline. So these two phenomena is well defined in IT company and IT industry, so it's not a new normal for us. But yeah, delivering from work from home was a new normal for everyone. And I think everyone will agree that the amount of flexibility all the employees got, the curtail in their commute time, getting the good hot food every day, in the home. So these were the additional benefits to the employees, and they were really working really hard, to deliver as a team. So I think the trust factor, what you were talking, and as even Neeraj said that they surveyed the employees that they don't want to come back to the work, maybe 60-70%. And that is because the trust level within the team has increased significantly higher than the pre-COVID situation. So this has really helped the companies, bringing in new work culture within the organization. And we now really debate that as an Indian IT service industry, do we need bigger infrastructure in place? Okay. Do we need costlier, infrastructure place, to work employees, from the office? So so I think the new normal has changed many things for good, and many things we are learning how to fix it in a new normal. So I think the significant time has passed, and everyone has championed how their organization will work post COVID. And I'm sure, like, the employee binding or employee engagement activity uh, can be handled very easily by HR by doing very small efforts, and they need really less time now because they can bind the entire team on a Zoom or a WebEx, and within half an hour they can complete their activity, which were taking like whole day when they go floor by floor or team by team. So these things have changed significantly, when the work from home culture has started. So yeah, I think it has a positive impact on the employee engagement, the team building, trusting each other, and the way the work is delivered.
So, Manish, you're basically saying about a lot of positive impacts, mainly around flexibility, anytime working. Logistically, people don't have to travel, so there's a lot of time saved. And again, in terms of familial bonding, I think within families also, people now know that, hey, that's my office room now. Don't come in for the next 7 to 8 hours. So the home space is converted into a workspace. So if you look at it from that perspective, I think employees have got molded and settled down into a particular culture. You said that you have your daily stand-ups, you have your agile meetings, which are now not taking a lot of time. And again, employee engagement practices are not taking a lot of time now. Now that all of us have got molded, we've settled down into something that we never even thought about. Uh, Neeraj, now getting back to normal life, is there going, do you see any barriers? Because everyone's now comfortably set into, yeah, I switch on my comp, I get onto a Zoom call, I talk anytime working. What barriers do you foresee when we get back?
The first and the foremost even if I call it a barrier or something, is a mindset. And the fear from the mind has to go. And that will take time. Means it's kind of the wounds are not going to heal so fast of the amount of fear that has been created in people's mind. So the first and the foremost barrier is that they should feel comfortable even coming out of their homes and coming to office. Maybe the precautions that are being taken at the office, the type of parking that is available, the type of kind of sanitization facilities available, the type of hygiene that is being maintained, maybe of a very superior level, but they need to come and experience it. So the only way to reduce these barriers and gradually and slowly bring them to office is in a very gradual way. It cannot be fast. It will not happen overnight the way we went to work from home. It's going to be a very gradual process, and maybe the workspaces will change. They will, instead of workstations, they will become more into conferences rooms. They will become more into a meeting spaces where people come and interact in terms of what they want to do, or specific ideation sessions may be there in the office. So these are the types of way that work is going to evolve. And slowly and gradually, as people start meeting each other, they start coming to offices, then they will start engaging more with it. And personally, means like for 2.5 months, I work from home. Since 1.5, 2 months, I'm back to office. There is a major difference in, and this is what we have discussed internally within the office also, is that work from home is very sequential in nature. So that is kind of a disadvantage. At the same time, it is a major advantage because we have learned to delegate well. Up till now, we wanted to do a lot of things ourselves. Now we have learned to delegate, that we will have to delegate and we'll have to delegate well. So that is a kind of a change. But the productivity into a certain managerial roles, or productivity in terms of ideation sessions, or productivity in terms of organized structural workshops happens much better in office than happening from home. So we will have to reduce the barriers, the fears, the mental challenges across coming to office. Slowly, gradually, it will have to be brought down. And then we'll have to bring people to office, at least to collaborate, to know each other, and work better towards the future goals of the organization. So these are the things which we'll have to do gradually to bring back to a normal. And again, I am very sure about one thing. It's going to not to be a normal of the normal kind that we had. It's going to be a new normal, or a kind of a new normal that we will adapt to it. And maybe in future, the residential spaces, yeah, the residential houses will require much more space, and the offices will require much lesser space. That is something, a change which is going to happen over a period of time. So that is something which will happen, and we'll have to live with it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Neeraj. That was very articulately put in terms of barriers and our expectations. So, Peter, have you launched a poll?
Yes, there is a poll that has been launched. So we can have the participants fill in uh, the feedback. Cindy, you can continue.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So while the participants also fill up the poll, I have a question for the participants because my next question is for Minish. But in terms of, I would really like to understand. So all the participants, once you fill in the poll, kindly put your responses in the chat box in terms of what behavioral traits do you think employees should demonstrate during this period? And my question to Manish is carrying on from what Neeraj said. It reminded me of this saying, a mind once stretched to a new idea never can go back to its original dimensions. So, in this particular period, the last 3 months, we've probably been demonstrating a lot of our soft skills. When you do your employees' measurement, behavioral measurement, how they are exhibiting certain traits like teamwork or collaboration or empathy, HR as a fraternity have certain KPIs to measure these traits in individuals. And now that all of us are forced to embrace a new normal, maybe we are implicitly demonstrating a lot of our latent traits that we never demonstrated in the physical world. How do you think we can measure employees' behavioral skills now in this period?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, because on the one hand, pandemic has brought in opportunity for everyone to work from home and give them a lot of liberty, and the measurement criteria have been really relaxed, in terms of how physically presence you are at the work. Okay. So it's very important for HR and the organization to understand that nobody is taking disadvantage of such flexibility extended due to the pandemic. And while the organization and HR is trying really hard to put everything back to work, and bring business to the normal, so it has been a tremendous effort from the management and the organization and HR to bring everything normal, or at least the employees can feel that yes, they are safe, and their workplace, their work is safe, and they are getting paid on time. So that brings the some kind of concerns for the HR and organization, that what if the employees are not behaving the way they should be, when they are physically present. Okay. uh, so again, checking the employees physical presence at home is not really the solution right now. So a lot of tools have been identified by the HR and IT companies, which is sitting on the employee's desk, which is the office provided desk, or their own computer, okay, or bring your own device kind of setup. So that gives a lot of indication to HR that how is the productivity in terms of the logging time, log off time, and total hours spent on the office network and the office work what they have been carrying out. So that's one measurement, which HR is having on a daily basis, or they have a alarms system which tell them that employee has not filled in leave form, but they are not working right now at the home because nothing is active on their network. So these are very simple behavioral criteria HR is trying to measure, that are employee honest enough to report their work hours or the working pattern, or if they really face any challenge, because many employees get infected, or some of their family member get infected and they really can't work. And the HR and all the management is so kind that they extend the leaves to such cases, and we never wanted them to come back to work and have the workplace infected. So all this flexibility is provided to the employees, right? And it's employees benefit that they give the proper behavioral understanding to their team members, their managers, their HR, or whoever is they are reporting to, basically. So this has become a really new learning for the team managers who are managing the team, because when they are into the meeting, right, physically, uh, they can raise the voice, or they can ask specific things to do by a team member, and that is sufficient enough to get the behavior straight by the team manager. But in a work from home kind of work environment, that's something which is limiting, because it's not physical presence, and you can't really pick up a phone, or invite someone on Zoom or Skype and start talking, because the all are working, basically. So this is the new thing, which is the new normal, which is there for the managers. And we have asked HR, to make certain policy on the behavioral aspect. For example, if employee is at work and he's not responding to the manager on chat or on the phone call for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, that means he is not at work, and that has to be raised to the HR. So many things have been streamlined, and I think, I would like to say that these incidents are not in huge numbers, but yeah, they are in some numbers. We have seen some special cases where they have the medical conditions, or they have difficulty executing the work, and the employees cannot even report that they are not working today. So the employees work policy has to be redefined, and basically the appointment letter what you have given mandates them to come to the work and physically do the 8 hours or 9 hours work at the physical place. So we have to have the new telecommuting contract signed with the employees, because that clearly binds them on the telecommuting work culture or the work from home culture. And that's something, which is new for all the HR. And we have to really look at the laws of the labor laws and other laws of India, and how we can uh, uh, make it a contract, which is applicable as per the Indian standard. So I think, it's all in good faith, and we are not facing many issues on the behavior aspect. But yes, we are definitely making new policies and new checks on how employees are working and reporting their work.
So you're basically measuring how employees demonstrate integrity, isn't it? So if you look at many organizations, we see integrity as one of the values, which is predominantly displayed on that wooden board. But to what extent have employees incorporated? I think this is a testing time, because integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching you. And this is a fantastic opportunity for us to measure not only employees, but ourselves as human beings, to see what sort of values and principles are we carrying within us, and how much, to what extent are we demonstrating each one of these. So thank you very much, Manish. So we've been talking about employees, we've been talking about leaders and HR. So Neeraj, we'll take one step further. How is your organization bringing this mindset change to your stakeholders, or are you finding challenges bringing a mindset shift to your stakeholders?
I think the shift in the mindset for all kinds of stakeholders, I'll put it, was a challenge to start with, because we have always created that this is how things are going to happen, this is how we will work, this is how things will get executed, or these are the expectations out of the organization. And to bring that change in the initial phase of the pandemic was very difficult. But it's kind of, that was the resistance phase. And now we are into a acceptance phase, wherein people have accepted all the stakeholders, whether be it the management, whether it may be our clients, whether it may be our employees, whether it may be our partners, or whether it may be our vendors. All have kind of accepted that this is going to be a change situation. And what I feel is the interactions between all stakeholders have been very honest. Kind of, there's a vendor who was passing through a serious financial challenges. They came across and told us that this is the situation that we are. Can you help out to us? And we immediately said it. So this is a kind of transparency which is common between all stakeholders, and it has helped to get closer overall into the approach. It's like the distances, in spite of physical distances being more, the mental emotional distances have drastically reduced. Handholding has been much more, and the support systems have turned out far better. And we just took a kind of a simple another thing that we did, that we took a pandemic death insurance for all our employees. And then we did not restrict it to our employees. We even extended it to our partners. We extended it to our consultants and all that period. And that also was very well accepted and received, that okay, in this particular time, adding a type of insurance which was not a part of the company's thought process was something which was very, very well received. And when that was transferred, the actions taken by the organization was also, because if we take our clients, our employees talk to them much, much more than we do. And all this positivity, when it was transferred to the clients, transferred to our business partners across the globe, it brought in a lot of more support and help for us as an organization. So I think this is a transformational year, and I'll put it across, instead of even thinking that whether we will have a recovery or not, we are already on a road to recovery. And I was talking to a couple of my friends in engineering industry, and they said that, Neeraj, because of what has happened and the China factor, the amount of orders that we are receiving today from Europe is so high that we are completely loaded for next 12 to 14 months. And that is a positive impact that is also transferring to the economy. And with the type of resilience that we have as a country, the way we can deal with crisis situation, we will come out shining much, much faster, much quicker. And that is going to be absolutely beneficial to all the stakeholders into the ecosystem, not only to a certain area of stakeholders. So that is how I see, and that is where I see that it's kind of a year of learning. It's a year of partnership, and we are already on a path to recovery. That is what I will like to emphasize more and more.
Thank you, Neeraj. The positivity is definitely spreading, and it's wonderful that you said that 2020 has been an year of learning, and I'm sure all of us would agree with that statement. On that note, Peter, do we have time for just one last quick question?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We can
Okay,
definitely take that. Yes.
great. Thank you very much. So, one last question. I would like both the panelists to respond. I'll go with Minish first. What are the couple of leadership traits that definitely need to be demonstrated in this particular period?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it's new learning for leadership as well. That how you are uh, behaving in the post-COVID situation where the business is full of challenges. Okay, so I look at as two things. One is the planning. And we have to have the two level of planning. One is a microscopic planning, okay, and which really help us to understand what is the cost of the organization, and can we somehow reduce this cost, which is already reduced because of the work from home and many other costs we are not incurring right now, like travel or traveling to customer place, and many other costs we don't have. But uh, we must set up a team who can handle the expenses at microscopic level and try to control and try to optimize that how organization can be more benefit or more profitable. And second is the telescopic view, because uh, going forward, we consider that world is not going to change, and we may have this pandemic for long term, okay, maybe a couple of years. Then what should be the organization strategy? Because yeah, business is great, we all have been carrying out the business since last 10 years or 20 years and 25 years, but now carrying out of business for next 5 years or next decade, you know has to have the new strategy in place in the organization. So these are the two views at planning level. The other view is how you can be different in the services, or to approaching your customer, that how you are innovating yourself, within this situation, and how you are presenting advantage to the customer by hiring you. Okay. So that is the new normal, and that will need lot of introspection within the organization, that what we can change, and how we can bring more value to customer with the same expense what they are doing on us. So that's the two things. Third, very important is, talking to customer more frequently than before, because now we all have more time definitely than the pre-pandemic situation. So this will be the leadership quality, will be required in any organization going forward, and this will show, or this will lead to a new way how organization can grow. So we are not talking about sustenance, we are talking about growth now. So these are few takes from my side.
Thank you very much, Manish. Same question to Neeraj. What are the top two leadership traits that you think should definitely be demonstrated now?
I'd put it across, first and foremost, the leader should be fearless, should be in a position to take more challenges, has to be extremely organized and willing to delegate. This is what I would look into any leader today who is going to take his team or his organization out of the pandemic. This is the clear traits I would really want to see. And these are the only four things which would really help make a change, help make a difference. And then the ideation capabilities and all other aspects comes into play. But today, if you do not, you yourself are scared from within, you yourself do not have the mindset to really motivate the team to come out of the situation, you will not be able to achieve it. So that is extremely, extremely important. So that is my take on it.
Thank you very much, Neeraj. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Neeraj, for this fantastic discussion. So we spoke a lot about HR. We spoke about strategy, the new normal, the road to recovery, and a certain points that definitely stood out from your discussion was, Neeraj, how you demonstrated empathy to your colleagues, and Manish, when you said you launched two products or services, leverage this as an opportunity, and of course how we measure employees behavioral skills, integrity, how do we create confidence not only in the minds of employees or the organization, but also extend that level of trust to stakeholders. This has been a very fruitful discussion. Thank you very much for your fantastic thoughts, and thank you, Peter and HRAI, for inviting us over. I would also like to thank the audience. I hope you had a fruitful session. And I would like to conclude by saying that no matter where we are, whether it's the pandemic or the crisis, or even when we get back to the new normal, as human beings vested with certain amount of skills, our primary responsibility is to be resilient and to go ahead and create and add value, whether it's tangible or intangible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sindhu, for facilitating this discussion so well. Thank you, dear panel members, Mr. Minesh and Mr. Neeraj, for such an insightful webinar. It has been a pleasure being with you all today. Before we conclude with today's session, we would also want to thank all the association for supporting HRAI event. Asian IT Association, it is the ICT window of Gujarat to the world and nurtures, fosters, and tracks the ICT industry of Gujarat. It is the only state-level association for electronic, software, IT, ITES, BPO, KPO, LPO, telecom, ISP, networking, and IT education, which is recognized by the government of Gujarat. Federation of Gujarat Industries was founded in the year 1918. It is one of the oldest active, socially conscious industrial association in the country. The Federation of Gujarat Industries aim at promoting, protecting, and projecting the interests of industries and also catering to the needs of the community at large. NASSCOM COE Gandhinagar. NASSCOM was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in July 2015 as a part of Digital India initiative to jumpstart the IoT ecosystem, taking advantage of India's IT strength in the country. The Center of Excellence for IoT India at IIT Gandhinagar, Gujarat, is a Digitally India initiative to jumpstart the IoT ecosystem in India, taking advantage of India's IT strength and help country attain a leadership role in the convergent area of hardware and software. Bharat Nirman. Bharat Nirman was set up in early 1980 and was registered as a charitable and public utility organization on 9th June 1980. The main objective with which the society was set up was to revive all ancient Indian science and propagate Indian way of life, culture, and development. LMA Lucknow. Lucknow Management Association was formed as a local chapter of AIMA in 1976. Establishment of IIM at Lucknow in 1984 gave flip to LMA's endeavors in profiliation of management knowledge and taking the management movement forward. Thank you once again, dear panel members and our participants, for joining us today. Do join us for our next webinar on Tangle to Untangle on the 8th of August 2020, a conversation with Mr. Sahil Nair on rules of next normal. See you soon. Stay safe, take care, and bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, dear participants. We may now close the webinar.
Thank you, Peter.